Let's go get it, everyone. Hey, this is Jason Clemmons, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center, and you are listening to Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. This is Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Tuesday, last day of October, October 31st. Some people call it Halloween. Some people call it Fall Festival Night. Whatever you call it, it's October 31st. It's a Tuesday, and we're coming to you live from the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios. And we're bringing you Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, like we do every night, Monday through Friday. Every night that we can be connected, we're going to be here. And we're going to be bringing them to you. And hope I'm connected. If I'm not connected on the radio, I'm sure someone will send me a text and let me know quickly. But I was connected just a few seconds ago, so I'm just going to go on like I am connected. I hope everything is loud and clear out there for you guys. But everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you guys should be nice and live and going. And I hope everything is happening for you. I hope this is a good night for you. Hope everybody's out there enjoying their night, getting out there and being social, doing the things that you do on October 31st, doing your trick-or-treating or whatever you're going to do. Get ready for the ball game. We got a World Series ball game going on tonight. And between the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. So it was a good game last night if you're a Texas Ranger fan. And it's still a good game if you weren't a Texas Rangers fan. So we hope that the Rangers, for all of us who are Rangers fans, we hope everything works out for the Rangers fans, and for the Diamondback fans, we hope everything works out for y'all too, with just one run less. So that's the way we're rolling tonight. We had a good show last night. We talked about Proverbs 7. We talked about temptation. We talked about reaching out and seeing what you could accomplish with your life, and being careful not to get too tempted and just falling off right into it. And let me see. I'm getting a text here. Let me see if we're great. Okay, thanks for the text. Yes. They can hear me on the radio. It's just not quite showing up inside my studio monitor, but it was said we're on the radio, so we must be in good shape. So thank you very much for the text. I appreciate that. 806-794-0400 is our text line. So if you would like to reach out to us on the text line and you have a question, if you have any questions about any of the shows that you've seen, if you're new to the show, this is the last day of the second month. So starting tomorrow night, it will be our third month that we're doing this show. And so we're getting new people all the time who are coming in as new viewers and listeners to the show. And so if you're out there and you're one of those people and you've got questions, then I'm here for you. I'm here to share any information that I've got. I'll try to do my absolute best to give you the best information that I can about your health. I won't necessarily establish a doctor-patient relationship with you, so I'm not treating you. But if we do establish that doctor-patient relationship, then I am responsible for the things that I'm saying to you, and I will be. I'll be upfront with you either way. But there's, when you're a doctor, you got to kind of watch those things, because you get a lot of questions a lot of times, and a lot of doctors just won't answer them because they're afraid. But I'm not afraid. I just want to make sure that we're clear on what we're doing. Everything that we're doing here on the show is based on the subluxation, the interference in the nervous system. Everything that I talk about, I can trace it back to the subluxation and interference in the nervous system. I said that to a patient today. We broke that word down. I was adjusting a guy that I don't see very often. He comes in every once in a while and gets adjusted. And so I was adjusting him, and we were talking about tech athletics and football and all that sort of thing, and the baseball game tonight, and his opinion on Major League Baseball and all that stuff. And we were just going through all that while he was getting adjusted. And then I went to the lady next to me, and I was adjusting her, and she said, "You guys talking shop over there, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, wellness chiropractic is different than any other doctor-patient relationship that you have. The number one thing that it is when you come to the Rock Health and Wellness Center, you see the doctor. That's the number one thing. You don't see anybody else. You see me. You might go see our nutrition department. You might go over and see our exercise room and do some brain rehab. But you are going to see, if you're coming here to see me, you're going to see me. And when you do wellness chiropractic, I see you for a long time because I'm not seeing you when you're sick. I'm seeing you when you're well, and I'm trying to keep you well. And so sometimes I see you when you're, jacked up. I had a lady fall on her tailbone over the week since I saw her last. There's all kinds of stuff that happens, right? There's all kinds of life that goes on out there. So when you come into the office and you get adjusted, well, if you do it for a while, which a lot of our patients do, we see people over long periods of time, like years and years, that we see people because we're doing wellness care. And so when we do that, it's kind of interesting because we really get to know each other. We get to know each other. I get to know the patients over a long period of time, and I get connected to them and their lives and get invested in their lives. And we talk about all kinds of stuff. And I told the lady, I said, if I talk about subluxation every single time you come in here, you're going to get tired of me talking about that over, over years of time. And she just kind of laughed. She said, yeah, I was trying to explain that word to my husband last night, but I don't ever know for sure if I'm saying it right. And so I thought that was kind of funny. And I was like, well, just remember what it's about to me, right? Because that word has a meaning to me that in a lot of my friends in chiropractic that are, it's not the same in the medical world. They have a different meaning for it in the medical world. But in the chiropractic world, what we're talking about is lux. Lux. Lux means light, right? And we are the light of the world, right? And then sub, that means below or under. And then ATION on the end of a word. Remember, we broke that down when we were going through Dr. DeMartini's principles. But subluxation means in a state less than light. And you're not able to shine your light into the world because you're subluxated. And that's the reason that I come to work. So what are we going to do? Something that is just, is fair and right. It's just, right? We're looking for justice, right? We're looking for fairness. Well, if you add something towards something, you move towards it. And meant on the end of a word is a place, like so department, like so adjustment means to add you to a place that's fair and right. So if you're subluxated, you get an adjustment. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's way better than pain management. It's way better than coming to work every single day trying to figure out, just working in pain all the time. So that's what I told her. I said, look, that's what inspires me to come to work. And that's what inspires me to do this show. And that is the thing, the subluxation, the definition of subluxation is the thing that drove me to do this show, to share that idea with you. That if you have interference in your nervous system, then your body's not gonna work properly. And I'll get into a few of those thoughts here in just a few minutes. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow night we're going to go over the Book of Charlie. That's a new book that I got this weekend. One of my lovely ladies gave me a Barnes & Noble gift card over the weekend. So I went, looked around, found a book, thought it was awesome. Just thought it looked good. It says Wisdom from the Remarkable American Life of a 109-year-old Man. So Dr. Charlie White from Kansas City became 109 years old before he passed away on his birthday, August 17th. And he lived 109 years. And I just saw that book and I thought, man, that would be something cool to break down and to read and just see if I could learn anything from Charlie. And I did. And so I'm going to share that with you on tomorrow night's show when we do our book review show and break that down. Also, tonight is the last night for our drawing, our contest. So we've got a number of Red Hots in a 20-ounce soda bottle, and we're trying to represent the idea that, because people always say it's just one Coke, and like they're going to do it tonight, right? We got Halloween. Everybody's out there trick or treating. You're going to get home tonight. And you're going to have a bucket full of candy, and you're going to say it's just one day. That's all it is, right? So I'm just going to have one candy, and I'm going to be willing to bet you. I'll bet you $5 if it's legal. I'll bet you $5 that tomorrow you're going to eat another piece of that candy that's in that bucket. You're not going to throw that candy in the trash tonight when the kids go to bed. If you're anything like I was for all the years that I had kids, you're not going to do that trick or treated. So the idea is one soda a day. One soda a day is the equivalent to how many pills? If you had some sort of pill, a birth control pill, a blood pressure pill, a diabetes pill, and you just said, I just drink one soda a day, right? How many would it be? Now, let me make something very clear because I was thinking about it last night. I'm not saying that drinking one soda has the same physiological effect on the body as taking however many pills are in this bottle. That is not what I'm trying to say. I'm simply saying that it does change one of them a day. One of them a day does change your physiology. Just like one blood pressure pill or one metformin or one birth control pill will change your physiology. One cookie a day, one piece of bread a day. And let's look at it on the positive side. One complex carbohydrate a day, and not lots and lots of complex carbohydrates, right? But small amounts of complex carbohydrates. And then one grass-fed animal a day, or something that's healthy for you. One cup of blueberries or raspberries. Those all also affect your physiology. So whether you're drinking a bottle of soda or you're drinking a bottle of water, and you gotta watch out where you get your water. But the point that I'm trying to make is that it does affect us, and it does affect our physiology. So if you can guess how many Red Hots are in this 20-ounce bottle, and if you're listening to us on the radio, just get you a 20-ounce bottle. You probably got one at your house, and just imagine how many Red Hots could go in there, and just take a guess. Send us a text, 806-794-0400, or you can send us a message on any of the social media platforms that we're on, and we'll get that message. We'll write down your guess, and we'll see who gets closest. We got somebody that's pretty close so far, and you'll have to nail it. So you can't get just some wild, don't guess 5 or something like that, and then just think everybody else went over. But if you win, you get a $50 gift certificate to Longhorn Steakhouse, and you can go. And if you're not in Lubbock, I'll find you your favorite place to eat that's healthy, and I'll buy you a $50 gift certificate to that, and you can take your wife or your husband or somebody, your best friend or something, out to have a great social evening and enjoy a dinner on us. So this is the last night. If you don't guess tonight, then you're not going to win. So I'll run it all the way through midnight, but as soon as midnight's up, then the contest is over. It's kind of a Cinderella type moment right there, right? Okay. So on tonight's show, I want to get into some ideas. We had a really good show last night talking about Proverbs 7 and the different, especially when you get down there to verse 22 and you start getting into that idea of that ox being led to slaughter from the choices we make every single day when we get tempted by those things that get us off our why. Right. And so all these things that we talk about, they just stack on each other over and over and over again. They just keep stacking on each other. And the idea of we gotta, how do I say it? We can take some concepts. We can take some concepts and we can talk about concepts in different forms, and they all go back to the same exact thing. They all go back to the subluxation. That's why I'm not afraid to talk about any subject on this show, because I can tie it back to the subluxation. That's my scope of practice in the state of Texas. I'm not scared to talk about health and wellness. And I'm not scared to talk about all of the different ideas behind health and wellness. Now, I gotta make it clear. There are some things that aren't my scope. Like last night, I had a guy that I thought might have shingles. It was in a really weird place. It's on his foot. I never have seen shingles on a person's foot before, but he's having some really low back pain, some problems. He fell off the bottom step of a ladder, rolled backwards, hit that little edge of concrete that you got in your garage up there, close as you go in the door of your garage, or up kind of the front of your garage where the lip of concrete goes up. He rolled and hit it with his back. He's been having some trouble, and now his foot is on fire. And then he had this blister on his foot last night when I saw him, and I'm adjusting him because he's subluxated. I'm not adjusting him for any other reason in my brain. I'm adjusting him because he's subluxated. That's why I'm adjusting him. I'm trying to remove the interference from his nervous system, but shingles aren't my game, right? That's not my scope of practice. That's not something that in the state of Texas that I'm doing. I guess if I could tie it back to some interference in the nervous system, I might could figure it out. But really, what I told him to do is go see his medical doctor, who's just right across the street from us here. And so I said, look, he's still open. It was right before we did the show last night. I said, just go over there and see him and ask him what he thinks about that, and tell him I don't know I don't know what to call that. I will defer to his education and let him make that call on that deal. So what we're talking about when we're talking about all these concepts in our office is we're talking about the concepts that go back to the interference of your nervous system, because I believe that's the biggest thing that disrupts your health. So we're trying to get your health right? So I had a couple of conversations today. One of them was that subluxation conversation. Another one was one of the ladies that I take care of that she had mentioned to us. We sent a text to check on her a little while back, and she was like, she was just saying that she was 71 years old and she knew her body well, and she knew when she needed to get adjusted. So I just left it alone because there's some emotional things going on with that sentence. But the idea is she says to me, well, I know when I need to get adjusted and when I don't. And I just presented for her consideration, how exactly do you know that? What is the marker? What is the indicator that's giving you that piece of information for you to make that decision about your health, right? And then I was trying to share some concepts with her in a calm, peaceful way, because I know it's hard. I know these concepts are hard sometimes, but I just want you to think about one idea is, if you were to draw a picture of your brain and you were to think about, you were thinking about your spinal cord and how it goes out to your body, how it goes in and out to your body, right? And we've talked about this before, but I just, it's the concepts that keep coming back over and over and over again. So let's think about this. You touch something that's hot. You touch a hot stove, right? When you touch a hot stove, you're going to have a reflex that goes on, but you're getting information sent to your brain. You're getting information sent from your hand into your spinal cord and then into your brain. Well, in the medical world, what we call that is afferent information. Afferent information is from the body into the brain. Okay? That carries sensory information with it. It carries information that you can feel. When you've got sensory information, it's going from your body into your brain. Now your brain is going to process that information, and then it's going to send a signal back down to your arm to tell your arm to get off that stove. It's going to want you to move your hand off that stove, right? The information that goes from your brain down to your body doesn't have any sensory information. Those are called efferent nerves. And that's your brain talking to your body. And your brain talking to your body is not sensory. It's not something that you feel. What you feel is information that goes from your body to your brain. Like wherever you are right now, if you're moving, if you're sitting down, wherever you are right now, think about what you can feel about how your body is functioning. I want you to think about, can you feel the chair that you're sitting in? Or if you're standing up, can you feel your feet? Are you able to feel whether or not you have your shoes on? Can you feel the like I can feel this sweatshirt on my elbows. I can feel my forearms on the desk right here. I can feel that I can feel my glasses on my nose, right? I can feel that information, that all of those sensors. And what's happening is the receptors, the little thermostats that are all over our body, those little thermostats are feeling that pressure. They're either feeling the hot or cold, they're feeling the sharp or dull, they're feeling the pressure of our clothes or our weight in the chair, and they're sending that sensory information into our brain to let our brain know where we are in space and what's happening to us what is happening to our body, right? That's the thing we can feel. Now, can you feel the energy going from your brain to your spleen? No. Think about that for a second. Can you feel the energy that goes back down whenever you move a muscle? Like just twitch your big toe, right? Do you feel any of that energy going from your brain through your spinal cord, down the nerve in your leg, all the way to your toe? No. I want you to twitch your finger. If you twitch your finger, did you feel the energy go from your brain through your spinal cord, out your arm, down your arm to the muscles, and then move your finger? You didn't feel that. If you're feeling that information, you need to go to the emergency room, right? Because that's not good right there. You can't feel the information that's going from your brain to your body. There's no sensory nerves in there. So what you're getting when a person tells me, hey, doc, this is an interesting, it's what if a person tells me, hey, doc, I can tell you when I need an adjustment. What are they telling me? What are they actually telling me when they tell me that? What they're telling me is they are evaluating. Let's just say, let's don't even get too technical with it all. And let's just say that half of our nervous system is efferent and half of our nervous system is afferent. Half of it goes from the body to the brain, and half of it goes from the brain to the body. Well, what they're saying is they can evaluate an X percentage of the 50% to determine that it's not functioning good, and they're not happy with that. They're not happy with whatever percentage of that 50%, right? And that's what makes them feel like they need to get adjusted. But if you really think about that, they are neglecting the rest of whatever percentage that they have in sensory, and they're neglecting the entire efferent part of their nervous system, the other 50%. You can't say that. You can't say, I mean, it's obvious if you know, if you say, hey, I know when I need to get adjusted. Well, okay. You know, if you're that bad, if you're really, really jacked up, then yes, we need to adjust those areas, right? But what about when you're not jacked up? What about when you feel fine? What could I possibly do to determine where like you're not functioning properly? And that's where we start getting into a deeper level of analysis when we're analyzing the person's body. We're not just looking at those one things. We're not talking. See, that's a pain management philosophy right there. A pain management philosophy says come back and see me whenever you can feel like you don't feel good. When you feel like something's wrong. Okay. Okay, you with me on that? All right. Well, now I think we may be getting close to a break. Yeah, we got 30 seconds till we go to a break. And then when we come back on the other side of the break, we'll really get into it. We'll get into that whole idea of some different measurement things that we can do that to carry on and to see um, exactly what's going on. Because you say, well, would Dr. C, what do you mean? How are you going to measure it? How are you going to determine whether or not I need to get adjusted when I feel great? Why would I come see you when I feel great? Right? Why would I do that? If I Why would I want to come see you if I feel great? Everything's fine with me. And I'm like, well, okay, let's break that down a little deeper. Let's break that down so that into some different thought processes that are a little bit deeper than that, that maybe that's not exactly true. Maybe it's not exactly true that just the way we feel is enough to get adjusted on. And I'm going to present some of those ideas to you on the other side of the break. So you guys hang on just a few minutes. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, and we will be right back after these messages. Okay, for the Facebook group, I want you to stick with me right here because I'm going to go ahead and during this commercial, I'm going to show you some ideas. I'm going to show you some ideas that are, and we have talked about them before, and and I know you've seen this before. But let's just take this one lumbar spine right here. Let's take a look at this person, and let's look at this lumbar spine over here that is a perfect cervical, I mean, the lumbar curve. Like there's the hips are balanced and everything is straight from top to bottom, right? Okay. This is a patient. This is a patient that I adjusted today. And let me ask you, this person right here, and I don't know if you can see all of this, but this is not well. This is not a good lumbar spine. We've got a bend right here. We've got a bone spur over here on this side. We've got a bone spur over here on this side. We've got a bone spur over here on this side. We've got almost no disc space between this one and this one. We've got no disc space right down here. This right here is not healthy at all, right? So if this person was having a great day, according to their own value system, according to what they were able to feel, would we say, man, hey, no worries, just go ahead and wait until your low back blows up, then go see Dr. Clemens? Would that make any sense at all? Like, should we just wait on a ticking time bomb and just leave it alone? Just leave it alone. It's so just because you feel good. Well, I feel fine. I don't need an adjustment today. You know what that something that's this bad. When I know I can tell you that's been going on for years. That's been going on. If we would have taken an X-ray of this person 20 years ago, they would have had a jacked up spine like that. And if they'd have had a jacked up spine 20 years ago, should we just wait? Should we wait till they get to be 70 years old and they're broke down and it's all that bad and it really is bad? And then all of a sudden they come in and they're like, well, fix me. Yeah. No, sir. That that's that's not fixable. We don't fix that. What we've done, by the time you get to this place right here, we manage that. Now we got to try to make sure that your core strength stays right. Now we've got to make sure that your stress level stays down. Now that we've got to make sure your inflammation gets down, you got to take your omega 3s because they really do matter now, right? Those are the things that it's like it doesn't matter. I said to one of my guys today, it doesn't matter. It's like that old joke. It's all fun and games until somebody gets a eye put out, right? Okay, everybody, we're back. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. and you are listening to 98.7 Walk by Faith Radio, and the rest of us are on social media, and we're breaking down some concepts tonight and some different ideas about why why saying why letting the way that you feel determine whether or not you should get adjusted. Because if you're in this state, if I've got an X-ray up on the social media pages, and there's this lumbar spine is bad, right? This it's not good at all. Let me show you another one, because let me show you a neck. And this person actually came to me after a stroke. This individual, and I know you can't see it on the radio, I'm showing a reverse cervical curve. When you have a reverse, when your neck is supposed to be curved in one direction, but your neck is completely curved in the opposite direction, right? So it's the question that this person came to me after they had a stroke, and was wanting some help recovering from their stroke. And this was their neck when I took an X-ray of it. They didn't come to me because they had neck pain. They just were having balance problems. They were having really bad balance problems after the stroke. And this is what I saw when I took the X-ray of their neck. The green line is the normal. This X-ray over here on this side is the normal that has the green line. And then this one is the X-ray of that person, that the red dotted line. And what do you see right here? Look at these first 4 vertebrae. Their atlas is 1. Here's C2, 3, and 4. And just look at the disc space between them. So the disc space between C2, 3, and 4, they're all nice and big and healthy. There's no degeneration. Everything looks fine. But then come down here below it. When you come down to the lower cervical spine, which we're looking at an X-ray of the neck, when you come down here to this lower cervical spine, now look that there's no space right there. There's no space right here. And there's bone spurring that's going on. That is not the result of a stroke. That is not causing, that did not happen after the stroke. The stroke happened after that, right? There was interference in the nervous system. This took years to accomplish. And it's the concept of, I never needed a chiropractor. I never needed anybody to evaluate my nervous system. I feel fine. Oh, what I'm trying to share with you is that's very unsound thinking when it comes to health. It's not sound when it comes to health to just let this stuff go. Because this right here is going to change the way that the brain is going to function. And I wrote down in my notes, remember to say more strokes happen between 4 and 7 a.m. than any other time of the day. And they happen at between 4 and 7 a.m. because that's when your oxygen levels drop the lowest. I mentioned that the other night on the show too, right? Your oxygen levels drop the lowest between 4 and 7 a.m. You ever just spontaneously need to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you think you got to go pee at 4 o'clock in the morning? You just say, yep, that's me. I just wake up. Yeah, I need to pee about 4 o'clock in the morning. Do you realize that you're not waking up because you have to go pee? You're waking up, go to the bathroom, whatever. You're waking up because your brain is becoming, it's operating on low oxygen, and your brain doesn't like to operate on low oxygen. And if it drops too low, then it sends all the blood to the brain stem, and it makes this outer shell of the brain lose its blood pressure, and those blood vessels can stick. They can lose their blood like a balloon loses its air. Those blood vessels they can come in there and stick, right? And we've talked about that, and I'm not trying to get off onto strokes tonight, but I'm just saying the gentleman that came to see me, he came to see me before, after he had already gone down the road to bad health. It was late. It was late to the party. It's really disappointing when it's late to the party. I mean, we would try to help him, but this concept right here leads me to another concept, and I want to show one more film before I go to that concept, because this one is of a younger kid, 22-year-old, and I want you to see that what we talked about last night in the concept of frontal lobe turns off flexor muscles. Remember, we talked about that on the show last night. Frontal lobe turns off flexor muscles. And so frontal lobe, if it's on, your flexor muscles are off, so your body can go into extension. You can get your eyes up. But this individual, when all I did, he stood like every other person stands. I said, put your right shoulder right here on this line next on that. When I took his x-ray, stand right here, face that wall, and I want you to look at that picture on the wall. And what did he do? He brought his head down almost to his chin. Like his head just dropped into flexion right there. I said, okay, look at that wall in front of you. And that's what he did. I said it 2 or 3 times. All right, go ahead. Look at that wall in front of you. And he brought his head almost right down to his chin. Like, okay, the good news is we don't have any degeneration going on in the spine. He's only 20-something years old. He hasn't had time to wear out his spine. The bad news is his frontal lobe's not working at all, because he's in total flexion right there. Like his head, his muscles are pulling him downward into that flex position. And we've got to fire his brain, and we've got to get his brain to fire up. And so in order for it to make sure that it'll fire and function the way that it's supposed to. And so those are just some things. These people, they came to my office for all kinds of different reasons. But if you would have asked them any moment in their day or week, hey, you think you ought to go see a chiropractor, be like, no, man, I feel fine. I don't need to go to a chiropractor. I feel fine, right? It's bad. It's bad thinking. It's not sound judgment. It's bad thinking. Don't let that be the way that you go down on that deal, right? And so the concept I was wanting to share, the idea that I was wanting to share was what happens, because I said it last night, and it's a scary thought. What happens when your brain, when you get so far down the road that your brain won't let you come back? I've got, the older I get, the more people I have like that in my life. It's not their bodies that some of the people I have, their bodies won't let them come back. Their brains are working fine, their bodies are worn out, and they're just having to suffer through the rest of the time. But some of the people that I have, that's not the case. Their bodies are fine, but their brains went too far bad before, and now it's going to take a miracle. It's literally going to take a miracle, or we're going to have to kidnap those people and bring them to a place of wellness and have them 24 hours a day in a place of wellness, and just drive and get them the nutrients that they need. Because a lot of times what's happening, what I find with that, what I see in the office is that I can't. You remember the conversation we had with Dr. Fraley? And if you didn't see that show, you could go back. But one of the things that Dr. Fraley always talks about is fuel and fuel delivery and activation. Fuel to the brain. What fuel are we getting to the brain? And then, are we getting that fuel delivered to the cell properly? Are we able to get the nutrients into the cell where it needs to be so that the cell can function the way it's supposed to? And then you take the idea of fuel, and then fuel delivery, and then activation. Are we getting enough activation? And so what I see in the clinic is I see patients that come into the office that are they're lacking that fuel and fuel delivery system, and they won't do anything about it. That, like, some of my patients rock, right? Some of them, you tell them take your fish oil, they take their fish oil, they rock. There's no question about it. Those are it's so awesome. It's so exciting and so inspiring to get to take care of wellness people. It really is, because it's like running a NASCAR deal. It's like 190 miles an hour, full speed, wide open, man, just blowing the doors off of the thing, right? And if you think about NASCAR, those guys are going 190 miles an hour, and they pull into the pits and they have 14 seconds, and they're like, dude, change my tires, fill me up with gas, clean off the windshield, and get me out of here, because I'm going back to life at 190 miles an hour. That's one of the best analogies of wellness care that I can think of right there. Now, did they need their tires changed? Yes. Did they need to fill their tank up with gas? Yes. Was it a necessary pit stop? Absolutely. Was it just wellness maintenance? No. There's no such thing as maintenance, right? There wasn't a maintenance care pit stop. If they would have blown the tires off of that dude or put that thing in the wall, if they wouldn't have got adjusted, that adjustment, that pit stop was 100% necessary. It was 100% necessary in order to keep the wheels from getting worn down where the car slides into the wall, possibly killing somebody, and everything goes bad, destroying the car, right? They can't do that. They can't drive the wheels off of them, all the tread off the tire, and then expect that car to stay in lanes when they're going 190 miles an hour. Well, that's the same thing that we do in wellness care. For the ones who are going 190 miles an hour, they're out there just rocking life. And then they come in here and they're just like, bam, get me adjusted. Just like I did today. I went and saw my chiropractor today, just like I do every Tuesday, right? Just walked in there, checked my posture, adjusted me, bam, done. Move on. Go back to life at 190 miles an hour, right? Been doing that since I was 17 in some form or fashion. The concept is, what happens if I'm not fueling my brain properly? What happens if I'm not getting that fuel delivered properly? Because I'm not getting the right fuel in there, and I'm not getting my body in the right environment. I'm not sleeping properly. I'm not exercising. That's the first thing we did this morning when we woke up, is came up here to the gym and worked out. So we worked out, went home and had breakfast, came up to and went to worked till noon, went and got adjusted, came back, worked this afternoon, did my radio show. Going to go home, watch a World Series game tonight, right? Those are the things that we want to make sure that in the moments that I'm going through that I'm getting the right fuel to my body. And it really is, it's a thing. And I just want you to have heard the concept. I want you to have heard the concept. It's a thing when your brain doesn't allow you to get yourself back on track. That's a very dangerous situation. Like our friend's guy died this week, right? But Matthew Perry, he talked about, and Leslie started reading his book, and he talked about getting a major narcotic or something when he was like months old for the first time. Then he got another one when he was like 8 or 9 years old from some medical issue that he had. And what did it do to his brain? It just messed him up, right? And then he didn't get back into that right and left pathway. And then he became an alcoholic and a drug addict. And he lived for years of time. And he didn't realize when he was going through that, like we talked about last night, he was an ox going to slaughter. You know, he had these plans and these dreams and these things that he wanted to do way down the road. And he ran right into 54 years old and bam, dead in a hot tub. It's like all those things matter. All those things add up, right? They add up. And sometimes when the brain's not functioning properly, it's hard to get back. And it's a scary thought to me. It's a scary thought that I could be cruising down the road and then I could be feeding my brain such crap that all of a sudden I'm addicted to it and I can't get off of it. And it just drives me right down into that that noose, right? Or I'm just going to go hang myself right into that bad choice. It is a concept that I think is worth listening to. I think it's worth saying on the radio, and I think it's worth saying it multiple times to try to get it that way. So I have another technology here in the office, and our other technology, we talked about it on the show, is the right eye test. And the right eye test measures different parts of the brain. And so when we do a right eye test on someone, then what we're doing is we're measuring three different areas of the brain. And I I wanted to I wanted to show this for a couple of reasons. This this test, we have three tests. The test, you get an overall score, and then you get individual scores. You get three individual scores that measures three different parts of your brain function. We're measuring brain function not from a functional MRI, but we're just measuring brain function for what we can do in the office, and it's called the right eye test. You can go to righteye.com if you want to, and you can look at the test. And this is another one of those things that we actually measure and say, like, look, this is not on your subjective complaint. This is not what you think you feel. Let me show you how your brain works a little bit. And so we have three different test scores right here. We have a previous test score, and then last week I was trying to retest him, and I've got a new staff member in the office, and I'm trying to train this new staff member to do these tests. And sometimes it's a little hard for the staff members to do the test because they won't get serious enough about the test. They're jacking around in there, and they won't study the test hard enough. They won't get in here and run through 1,000 tests to get good at it because they're young and immature, and they don't work hard. They don't get after it when they come to work, right? And so we have a test where the first test, the overall score was an 89. And then in the three areas, the pursuits, the saccades, and the fixation, which are measuring upper brain and lower brain activity or function, that was pretty decent. We had an 85 for pursuits. We had a 53 for saccades, and we had an 86 for fixations. Okay, this test right here is not bad, but I think we can do better. So we would want to put this person through some testing, through some treatment to see if we can make this better, right? And then we can see if the treatment frequency and if the fuel and the fuel delivery and the activation is working, what we're trying to do. So last week when they came in, I had my staff member run the test, and we go from an 89 in the overall score to a 36. And then we go from an 85 in pursuits to a 42. And then we go from a 53 to a 23, and from an 86 to a 41. Now, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's about right. If at first you don't succeed, you're doing about average. That's what Coach Bradley used to tell us at Roswell High School, right? So the first, when I saw that, I was like, look, I told the girl when I hired her, I'll fire you for that right there. Like, you got to be able to do a right eye test in our office. It's vital that it's done right. So today when he came in and we redid the test. And when we redid the test, this is the score. So 1 week later, we redid the test, and the score was an 80 overall. It'd gone up from a 36 to an 80 in 1 week. And then an 85, a 30, and an 89. So we're holding still in these other ones, but we've dropped in the middle. That frontal lobe is actually dropping instead of increasing. So we've got to add more activation, and we've got to watch out for that field and field delivery. We've got to do a better job on that frontal lobe. That's what that's measuring right there. So, but I wanted to point out to him something. I'm like, okay, look, I'll take the responsibility for us, for a girl that's not trained well enough to do the test, doing the test. But what I wanted to point out on the show tonight is I wanted to point out the difference in the way that the brain functions when a person is paying attention versus when they're not paying attention. The difference in the way that the brain functions when a person has a certain level of intensity, because I brought the intensity to the test. I think I may have been the one that took both of these, but the first and the last one. But I'm the one that brought the intensity to the test. He wanted to talk to me during the test, and I didn't talk to him. I gave him clear directions, and I told him exactly what I wanted him to do, and I didn't mess around with him, and I didn't let him get off track, and I didn't let him lose his focus. I wanted to make a point, and the point is this. The point is, when we don't pay attention, our brain doesn't work the same. Like, it literally doesn't work the same. And this guy drives a truck for a living. Now, which one of these truck drivers do you want driving down the highway? Do you want the guy that's not paying attention? Just look at this score below right here. Is what we've got a dot that's going in a circle, and he's having to keep his eyes on that dot as it goes in a circle. Well, look how his eyes move, and what it does is it tracks your eyes, and it makes a circle. It draws a picture of how your eyes are moving in a circle. Look how his eyes move when he's not paying attention, and look how his eyes moves when he is paying attention, right? Look at this left eye over here and how it wants to pull over to the left. Like this whole thing is just jumping when it goes through the middle. When it turns around, there's right eye. When it gets over here towards the right, it starts squiggling right there. He's losing focus, and when he's losing focus, he's losing sight. He's losing vision. He's losing concentration with his vision when he's not paying attention. And I've got a couple of more of them. Let me see if I can find them right quick, because I really thought it was whoa. Yeah, here's another one right here. Let me pull it up for you. Okay, so this is when his eyes are going across the screen, and this is the three tests where he makes the 89 the first time, and then where he makes the 36 this time, and this is pursuits. So instead of him pursuing around in a circle, now what he's doing is he's having to watch the dot move across the screen. Like maybe you would watch a little kid walk across the street tonight that's trick-or-treating, right? Like maybe you would watch a car that's going through when you're at a stop sign or something, the way that you're watching things move, right? Or maybe when you're merging into traffic. Those are things that you're doing. And I just wanted to point out that when he wasn't paying attention and we weren't giving him clear direction, his brain functioned way worse. This is his eyes going across the screen when he didn't know what was going on. Like he wasn't paying attention. And then the very next week when I brought him back, look where it came back to now. Now his eyes are moving a little bit better. They're still dropping off a little bit. We've got to work on that. But look at the difference between the two scans of the person that pays attention and the person that doesn't pay attention. And think about how our brains actually function different if we're not paying attention. If we're too tired and we're not functioning properly. And there's one more of them. There's one more I want you to see, because it's like, man, this is the frontal lobe. This is the one that scored. We didn't score hardly we got a 53 here. This is quick eye movements back and forth. So it's like, I'm going to move my eyes quick from one side to the next. I'm going to be driving down Milwaukee, and I'm going to look over here, and I'm going to look over there. I got to look at all this traffic. I'm got to be able to see when it's going side to side, and that's quick eye movements. And those are controlled by the frontal lobe. Now look what happens when he's not paying attention versus when he is paying attention. Well, it's still not fabulous, but it's a little bit better. But when he's not paying attention, look how that right eye goes in a circle, like it's a scribble across there, right there, right? And that's when it made a 23 on that test. That frontal lobe is not firing those eyes. And what do I keep saying? The frontal lobe is the last to develop. It's the last part of the brain that develops when we're 25 years old, if we've been on our feet and running. And then it's the first thing that goes away when we get old. And then that's when the old man creeps in and we start to bend down and get all flexed right there. Right? That's where that frontal lobe is important. And we can measure the frontal lobe. Even though you feel fine today, we can measure some of the activity that's going on and create a treatment program that addresses that. And we've got to do a better job with this particular guy to increase that. And we're going to work on some more things in the gym with him. But it's not just about how you feel. And when you're not paying attention, your brain works tremendously less well, right? That's not even proper English, but that's what you get tonight. And so, hey, that's the end of the show. Tomorrow night, we'll go over the Book of Charlie. You're going to love it. And I hope you guys have a great night and go Rangers.